Welcome to today's live stream. I'm waiting for a few people, so in the meantime, I don't usually do this, but a little product placement. For people that know me in real life and know the struggles I have with extremely frizzy hair, I found a great product I bought yesterday at Target, so I'm going to highly recommend it to anyone who has frizzy or dry hair. I actually have it with me. It is called Waterless. It's kind of hard to see with the shine. It's called Waterless and it's dry moisturizer, kind of like dry shampoo, but it doesn't make your hair heavy or oily. It's just shiny and not near as frizzy as normal, as pretty much anyone could tell. So today I am so excited. This is the day that I talk about Andrew Cohen, who is my favorite character. I've said that a couple times. I love all of my children, but Cohen is just, he's fun to write. He's so much fun. And one thing that I am changing in Blood Lily as I go through and fine tune it is a little bit of Cohen's demeanor. Because in the first book, he was kind of intimidated by Chance, and that shouldn't have been the case. Cohen is not intimidated by Chance at all, like not even tiny, slightest little bit. He's not. Um, so I am changing that a little bit. The biggest change I think comes with the whole conversation they have in the police precinct when they're talking through things. He tries multiple times and sometimes successfully to get a rise out of Chance, and it's just fun. Good afternoon, Joanne. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining me. I did do something a little different. Usually I do these videos and then I share them to all the groups that I belong to and stuff like that and invite people to watch them and stuff. But today, what I did is yesterday I created an event and then today I shared it with all the groups and then I actually invited people personally on Facebook too. So I'm hoping that maybe a few more people will join us today and it'll be pretty cool. It's not only a big day to talk about Cohen, but I have a very special treat that I'm super excited. Like, this is the most nervous I've been to do a live stream, I think, ever, because I'm going to read an entire scene from the Lotus Tree, which is not just any scene. It is probably my favorite scene that I have ever written in my life. It is just awesome. It is funny, it is scary, and it is very emotional. Like, it hits you hard, and I love it. I am so excited to share it. I mean, that's the most frustrating part, I think, of everything. Having to go back through book one and book two is that I have to stop my work on book three. And then that's even longer that you guys don't get to see or hear this amazing scene that I have written. So I'm just going to share it. It's fine. There's not a lot of huge spoilers in it, which is nice. A little bit, but I don't think anything too unexpected, really. So to truly understand it, you would have had to read both books, because Cohen does reference something that happens in book two. So to really get the emotional impact of that, you had to have read both of the books. But first, I'm going to talk just a little bit about Cohen. So Cohen, when you meet him in book one, he seems like a very pleasant, nice, trustworthy Southern detective in Knoxville, Tennessee. He's pretty unassuming, although a few things early on kind of indicate to Lilith that he might be a little bit more sneaky than she's realizing at first. It wasn't until you get to the interrogation room when Lilith is alone with Cohen that things start to really present themselves. Like, suddenly his demeanor is not the sweet little trustworthy Southern cop. It's more of a shrewd detective, like, I was your friend, but now I'm going to get down to the meat and potatoes. And you think you know where things stand then. Then he takes her into the room between the interrogation rooms where the video equipment is and stuff, a private space where they can talk without being monitored. Then you find out that he's not what he's pretending to be at all. He's not even really a detective. He's something non-human. And that's really all you get at first. And funny thing, One of my video streams, like forever ago, I talked about like plotting out your book versus just writing. So I talked about that. Um, and originally, when I started writing, I had a pretty simplistic view in my head, like A plus B plus C equals D, and then that's the end. It's pretty simplistic. However, when I was writing, I brought in this character, Cohen, originally intending him just to be a kind of a pain in the butt, human detective. Um, yeah, he does have a good guy, bad guy persona, but you never really know what his true persona is because he changes all the time. um, but I originally intended him just to pretty much not really be involved much beyond the interrogation room and just be kind of like another barrier to what she needed to do. But as I was writing him, like the whole thing just evolved right in my mind. Like as the words were coming out, being typed onto the screen, he suddenly became something way more important, which was never intended at all. And it's funny because book 2 is basically his book. It is pretty much all about Cohen. Which is why, I mean, I really love book 2, but I haven't read it in a long time, so I'll get there, and I'm going to get there sooner than expected, by the way, because big announcement, which I didn't put on my Facebook page today on purpose so I could share it with you now, is that I just wrapped up final edits on chapter 19. Bam! I am now putting the edits from chapter 20 into the computer. I do have to finish editing the tail end of 20, and then I can head into chapter 20 to 21. But out of 27 chapters, I am getting there, and I'm only about 100 pages away from the end. So those last few chapters are much shorter than the beginning of the book. So I'm hoping that maybe possibly, hopefully, Chris, you're out here listening. If not, I'll hit you up. I'm hoping that maybe I can have the book done by the new year. I'm really hoping I'll have it done. So I'll have to get with Chris and make sure we get the cover together and give him the final page count so he can work it up. Awesome. Need to get book 1 and 2 again to reread. Yes, you will. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. I know I'm not doing this to get money out of people. I just want my product to be the very best. And after this edit, it will be the very best it can be. It's awesome. Like I seriously, I put them into my program. They come back at 73, 75%. I put them back in when I'm done editing, and they're anywhere from 93 to 97%. Awesome. Super awesome. And everyone's voice is getting clearer in this version. More distinct. I think there's times when I don't even have to really mention who's talking. You just know. You know who's talking. I took out a lot of their names from the book. I realized that I say Chance and Lilith and Cohen like all the time instead of he or she, because I thought that I needed to be clear about who's talking, but just the tone and what's inferred. Like if Lilith asks Chance a question, I don't have to say Chance answers. I just have to say he answers because she asked him the question. Unless it's someone different, I don't have to say his name. So, sorry, I'm repositioning in my chair. Sierra says she just started rereading book 1 for the second time. Yay! I'm happy to hear that. So Cohen, back on track here. Cohen. Book 2, I think you really get into his motivations and his background. I don't think you do. I do change it up a little bit, like I said, in book 1, in the scene when Chance and Cohen and Lilith are talking in his office towards the end of the book. I do make him more antagonistic towards Chance. And there's a couple reasons. One, he doesn't like him. I mean, that's pretty simple. Number 2, he kind of has a kinship with Lilith, or he feels like he does. So that makes him not like Chance. And 3, you have to remember what he is. He is a creature that feeds on emotion. So, why would you think he would push Chance constantly to be completely irate? Might be because he's feeling tired and hungry. Might be because he's bored. Might be because he doesn't like Chance. But it's really all of those things. All of those things. He likes pushing people's buttons. He likes getting those strong reactions because he uses them. So I think it takes Lilith a little longer. Well, Lilith catches on to it eventually, but I think Chance doesn't really get it until the end of book 1 when he has to deal with it himself. So Cohen, he's just fun. The interesting part too is that they have this kind of uneasy partnership. It kind of, his loyalty seems to waver constantly and fluctuate, and you can never really tell if it's because he's growing a moral compass or because it's convenient and self-serving. You never really know the answer to that question. Until possibly the scene that I get to read you from book 3. I'm so excited. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am. When I wrote this scene, I was so, I was giddy. I bubbled with laughter. I wanted it so bad. And I immediately sent it to Emily. She's my sounding board, and I love her. But she's very busy, and I'm not sure she even actually read it. So you all get to hear it today. And I'm so excited to share it with you guys. I keep saying that, but it's very, very true. I'm proud of all my writing, but this moment, this is so pivotal, especially for Cohen. And really for Lilith too, to make her realize things. And the reason the thought came into my head to write this scene is because I had a review once about book 2. And not many people wrote reviews about book 2, which is weird to me, but it's okay. One of the reviews said she didn't understand why Chance and Lilith were so mean to Cohen all the time. And it stopped me for a minute. I'm like, but he never does anything the right way. He's very misleading. He seems callous. He constantly lies, or they think he lies. I mean, they can't really tell. That's the thing, is when you're around somebody that you never know their motivations, you never know what they are really thinking, it's hard for you to ever trust anyone like that, you know? It seemed like such a weird question to me, and I was like, you know what, I need to address this in book 3. Book 3 needs to be a lot about, where's the trust? Do they have any trust? Is it really there? So that's the groundwork I want to lay for this awesome pivotal scene in book 3. So let me get my papers out here. Nope. Now I have them out of order. I should have checked this first. Oh, that's the scene that I read last time. Well, the little clip I read last time. So this scene that I'm going to read, drum roll please, is from chapter 10. It's, into the book. So to set this up just a little bit, Chance and Lilith and Cohen find themselves, for some reason, which I won't disclose because I'm not going to give huge spoilers away right now. They find themselves all together in York, Pennsylvania, which is where I live. I like to write about places that I live. It makes it easier for me to use real places and real things. So they find themselves in York, Pennsylvania. Cohen, Lilith, and Chance are not happy fluffy with each other right now. Like any of them. Cohen goes his way. Chance finally convinces Lilith to calm down enough to go with him and get some dinner. And then as Chance and Lilith are coming back, Lilith's new partner, Nikki, calls her and gives her some very distressing, upsetting news. She calls her and tells her that the things they were trying to get. So they were trying to get their hands on all the biological evidence and bodies from Goditha, Fipspend, and the medical place in the end of book 2. They were trying to get all of the biological evidence, all of the bodies, all that stuff. And Nikki, through her research, found out that the FBI, who was in control of the investigation, which, if you remember, Cohen worked with them on the investigation to make sure everything went quiet. Nikki finds out that the FBI handed the evidence over to a third party. So this is where we set up our scene, and it will come out a little bit more too in the actual scene. So here we go. Start of chapter 10 from book 3, The Lotus Tree. Lilith pounded furiously on the door to room 105 with the same force her heart exerted against her ribs. True fear rocketed down every single nerve. She should have known better. She should have known things couldn't be so damn simple. The door swung wide open, and all her racing thoughts died in her throat. Her eyes automatically moved from Cohen's almost handsome face to the faint scars covering his torso, to everything else as he stood there stark naked. He simply raised one elegant eyebrow with an impassive look. When she still couldn't find her words, he cleared his throat, which jolted her from the weird trance. Damn it, Cohen! She quickly turned, covering her eyes as a bright blush crept over her cheeks. Did you need something? She heard the amused grin hiding beneath his calm indifference. Can you put some damn clothes on first? If you insist. She listened as he padded barefoot into the room, followed by the swish of fabric. A soft moan surprised her into looking back despite every instinct. A red-headed woman lay sprawled out naked on the bed as he wrapped the sheet around his waist. Sufficient? When she didn't respond, he followed her line of sight to the bed. Told you I'd find my own dinner. She tore her eyes away from the sleeping woman and returned her focus to Cohen, while rubbing the blush still coloring her cheeks. Apparently, we went to very different restaurants. She stopped and shook her head. Nope, not my business. Focus, focus. What is my business is the FBI investigation in Tennessee. There we go, back on track. A seemingly genuine frown pulled at his brow that she found very hard to believe. After everything, she wanted to trust him, but this, I'm not following. You told me the FBI closed the case. No loose strings. That's precisely what you said. Not to worry. The anger leached back into her voice as her blood started pumping again. His blonde eyebrows shot up in surprise, and he leaned against the doorframe. Yes, because it was the truth. You were awfully worked up. He stuck his head out of the door enough to see down the hall both ways. Where is your stronger, angrier counterpart? I asked him to wait in the lobby because I need him not to kill you. She knew asking Chance to wait next door was an absolute waste of time. He'd sense everything he didn't overhear, and considering how Cohen opened the door, she was damn glad he wasn't with her. Well, I suppose I should thank you, but somehow I don't feel that's appropriate yet. When were you planning to tell me about the third party, the private third party, who took custody of all the bodies and biological materials from Mariah's scene, Gaditha, and Fipspend? The shock and amusement completely abandoned Cohen's face as he suddenly stood bolt upright. What? You heard me. Who is the third party? Who the hell has all that extremely damaging information, Andrew? You heard... I honestly do not know what you were talking about. She narrowed her eyes at him suspiciously. How could you not know? After all, you were central to the investigation, or so you said. It must have happened after I left, once the case officially closed. His eyes drifted to the floor, voice trailing off as he thought through every scenario. That's the only thing that makes sense. Nothing makes sense, Cohen. Not one damn thing. Why the hell would the FBI even agree to hand over evidence? Not to mention, why would anyone know enough to want it? Andy, who's at the door? Is something wrong? The drowsy female voice seemed extremely intrusive, and apparently she wasn't the only one who thought so. He turned to face the room with a deep frown. You need to leave. His voice rang with practicality, completely flat and emotionless, as he held the door open. What? The woman sat up, covering her chest with a sudden sense of modesty. But now, a chilling finality saturated that one word, which even Lilith found abrasive. The woman froze for a moment, as if his words hadn't sunk in yet. I said now. The sharp snap of his voice set her into motion as she stormed around the room and shimmied into her various articles of clothing. You were such an asshole. Finally, the redhead threw on her shirt and shoved past him without bothering to button it. When she nearly ran over Lilith, she came to a screeching halt. Stormy eyes looked her up and down with open contempt. Before Lilith could say anything, the woman spun on her heel and slapped Cohen in the face with commanding force. Prick. He stood perfectly still with a bored expression, not even bothering to meet her eyes. If you're done, you can leave. The woman's face hardened into an icy stare. After straightening her haphazard clothes, blouse still unbuttoned, she marched straight for the lobby. Wow, Andy! You sure know how to make friends, don't you? He looked up from beneath his furrowed brow with a clear warning. Don't call me that. Then he pushed off the door frame, standing mere inches from her, and for the first time since Tennessee, he intimidated her. I didn't know anything about this, and obviously, you still don't trust me if you think I did. All her words dried up in her throat as he leaned in closer. An odd mixture of anger, betrayal, and sadness infiltrated his hazel eyes. After New York, after Farron, the medical center, what Lumanita... Tears welled in his eyes as they fell to the ground, his words coming to an abrupt halt. Although she wanted to step back and reclaim her personal space, this volatile, emotional version of Cohen felt completely alien and unnerving, which left her frozen in place. Just as she mustered the strength to take a brave step back, his eyes snapped up to hers. They didn't mean anything, did they? Something fucked up happens, and you automatically assume I'm behind it. His jaw tightened as the anger burned away all his other emotions. I fucking begged my grandfather to put a bullet in my skull to keep you alive. Remember that. The venomous words stung more painfully than a slap in the face. Tears caught in her throat, stealing any words she might try to formulate. The strength of his rage waned the longer he stared at her until only his impassive mask remained. Andrew, He stepped back into the doorway, his eyes focused on the fascinating wall sconce across the hall. Just go. You're right. She shook her head with tears still stinging her eyes. I'm sorry. I'll look into this third party. You've done your job. He closed the door before she could say anything else. For a moment, she stared at the black numbers on the white door in complete shock. Cohen was right. She kept lecturing Chance, but in the pivotal moment, she hadn't trusted him either. She could have knocked on his door and simply asked him, given him the benefit of the doubt, but she didn't. He didn't always go about things the right way, but he hadn't given her a single reason not to ultimately trust him since the meeting with Farron, since Farron killed her father. Why did she still subconsciously expect him to betray her? Maybe after everything with her father, she expected everyone in her life to eventually double-cross her. End scene. So that is my favorite bit of writing I think I've ever done in my entire life. I love it, love it, love it. So I'll be anxious to hear your guys' opinions. Hopefully it gets a lot of really good feedback. If not, too bad. It's not changing. I love it. So it gives you a little bit more insight into Cohen and lets you know that he has a little bit more depth than he lets on. I think once you know his history from book 2, and you know about his grandfather who killed off Cohen's parents because they coddled him too much, his grandfather who killed anyone he ever got close to teach him how to be strong and not depend on people, that kind of makes you leery of making connections with anyone because, even if Farron's not alive, it's a learned behavior over years, his entire life. So he does not very willingly make friendships of any kind. Um, and I want to address one question that I did get from Miss Joanne, especially after reading that scene. Um, she asked me about Cohen and Lilith. Is that ever going to be a thing? This isn't Twilight. I'm going to say that. This is not Twilight. I don't like doing love triangles. Um, to me, Chance and Lilith are the couple. Like, he has had this deep love for her, and she has this deep love for him. And I don't want that ever to change. However, Cohen has deep feelings for her too. And that, I mean, it's true. And very, very visible in this scene that he has deep feelings for her in several different ways. Not only what he says to her and how he reacts to her not trusting him, but also even the type of woman that he picked up. Who else has bright red hair? So there's a lot of clues in there. And it does get massively revealed later on. But what gave me the idea for this is I read a book. One of my first books in this genre, actually, was Obsidian Butterfly. And that's by Laurel Hamilton. I didn't realize it was like book 8 out of a series. But, I picked it up. It was on a shelf. Had a cool cover. I read it. And I loved it. So one of the things in this book is they had this relationship between the main character, Anita Blake, and this assassin who is very kind of disconnected, Edward. And you always could tell that they kind of had this spark, but ultimately they were just friends. She had no interest in a relationship with him, but she cared deeply about him. And I liked that concept a lot. So while Cohen might have very romantic feelings for her, she doesn't return them in that way. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't care about him very much. Like, it's hard to go through all the things that she went through, especially with these people, and not have feelings about them. So I'm actually catching up. I didn't realize that I had to scroll down to see you guys' comments. So give me 1 second. Let's see. He does push Chance's buttons quite a bit. Yes, even more so. Let's see. Definitely more. I got chills. Yay! Hi, Chris. Good to see you. And thank you, Sierra. Thank you so much for your compliments. I really love that scene so much, and it makes me giddy just reading it. Like, love it. It's so emotionally charged. That's why I love it. Like, you can't help but feel something when you read that. Like, at least I can't. It kind of pushes you in a direction, and it's like, here, this is what you're going to feel right now. And I love it. So hopefully I can make the whole book that way, because it's really my purpose. But I think even these read edits and stuff, like book 1 and book 2, they're just going to be so much punchier, and they're going to hit harder. It's great. But yes, that scene, chapter 10, book 3, that's my scene. It's my favorite. Yeah. So do you guys have any other questions about Cohen? Anyone out there? I think I've pretty much addressed almost everything, I think. And you guys got to hear this wonderful scene. Oh yeah, it is so Cohen. It is Cohen. And more so as you keep going. In the beginning he seems pretty just, standoffish and whatnot. But then you get to realize that in book 2 that the deeper parts of him, that they actually exist, for one thing. He's not just, hey, button, 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 I get what I want. Yay! He does have, way deeper stuff hidden down deep. He just keeps it all locked up, and like I said, it makes sense. And even more so at the end of book two, because the only person he ever trusted in his entire life, his whole life, the only person he could turn to that Farron didn't kill was Luminita. And look what she did to him. That's pretty heartbreaking. And I think that's part of the reason that I love Cohen so much, is that of anyone, he has the darkest backstory. I mean, yes, Lilith goes through some tragic crap, and you find out more tragic stuff that happened to her in book three from her past, and you realize why she's skittish of relationships, why she's skittish, especially about moving in with somebody. So you find out a little bit about that with a very unlikable character that comes in book three. A little blast from her past, based on a real person from my life. That is writer's revenge. So, yeah, I mean, he has the darkest backstory, though. I mean, Chance has, his drug addict, abusive parents who died in a car crash. I mean, that is pretty bad, but I mean, Farron assassinated his parents and every one of his friends. And then told him the only thing he could do is depend on himself and never rely on anyone else. And then he's put in a situation where he has to rely on other people. So it's understandable that he's not going to be like happy about it. There's going to be some pushback. He's not used to it. I mean, actually, of the three main characters, Lilith, Chance, and Cohen, none of them, not a single damn one of them, is used to relying on somebody, except maybe Lilith on her dad. Up until the part of book one when she realizes her dad isn't really the dad that she thought he was. So none of them are used to relying on people. And yes, there is something very lovable about Cohen. I do just love him to pieces. I'm gonna have to find a really good relationship for him because he deserves one. It's just not gonna be Lilith. Her and Chance, it's just that's it. Game over. Sorry. I really don't want to do one of those. I don't want to do a love triangle because, for one thing, the reason I don't like them. This is the big thing. For one thing, it makes the woman look like she just falls in love with whoever gives her the most attention at the time. That's kind of what my takeaway has been with pretty much any love triangle, is that, oh, I love this guy so much, he's my soulmate. And then this guy shows you attention and oh, now I'm torn. No, I want her to be certain. It's the one thing Chance asks her, right at the beginning of the pivotal scenes between them, is that, he wants her to be certain that's what she wants. And that it's not just convenient or a distraction or a way to avoid thinking about everything going on or dealing with it at all. So yeah, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it for that reason, and also because it just cheapens things. If she's suddenly torn between two people, then it kind of cheapens what she had with Chance. The only way I could see a love triangle actually working is if one of them was dead, and I really don't want that to happen, at least not yet. So we'll see. I haven't made up my mind on book 4, so yeah. It's about all the hints I'm going to give you about book 4. Like I said before, that I do have kind of a general concept of what I want to do for book 4, but I don't have anything scratched out in stone yet. So yeah, I'm keeping my options open for the meantime. So with all that lovely stuff said, I'm going to wrap things up for today. It's been a great chat. I'm so glad I got to read you my scene. Makes me very happy. Next week, I am going to do another character spotlight. I think I'm going to delve into Ashcroft a bit. Go to the dark side. talk about him. It all seems kind of disappointing after talking about Cohen, though. He's my favorite. One thing I did want to point out, though, on my Facebook page. This morning I posted a poll, so I would love everyone to go and vote on the poll. I had an idea when I was like prepping for this, to read this scene today. I had an idea about possibly doing weekly live stream installments of me reading the newest edition of Blood Lily. I have a few people out there, my fiance, and my friend Yvonne, because you're awesome, and my brother Jason, and a couple other people who don't, like, they've been really interested in hearing tidbits about my stories, but they're not readers. They don't like to read books. And Yvonne especially, she keeps asking me when I'm going to start calling her each night and reading her to sleep. So it kind of gave me the idea, like while I'm reading scenes out here, I could read entire chapters, or, you know, at least maybe 30-minute installations of Blood Lily, like the newest edition. So even the people that have already read the books kind of get a fresh take on it in a way. So I want you guys to go onto my Facebook page, go to the poll. It's posted right there. I want you guys to vote. Tell me what you think. If you like the idea, if you don't like the idea, feel free to leave a comment too if there's a reason, one way or another. Joanne's asking about audiobooks. Audiobooks is a good idea. However, to do an audiobook, I would have to do like perfect takes. And, you know, you can tell even when I read this, I have moments where, you know, I kind of trip over my words a bit. Another option is to hire a voice actor, which I don't have the money for. My fiance offered to do it for 30 cents a word, but I can't afford him. He's too expensive. He said that's the fiance discount, but I don't know. He said it's like $1.20 per letter for everybody else. But he has a deep, rich voice, which is very cool. Sometimes, not sometimes, once or twice, when I won't lie, he's had a couple drinks, he has sat down at the computer with me and read my book out loud and helped me edit it, which is pretty funny. But yeah, that's the main reason I don't do an audiobook, because it has to be flawless because people are paying money for it. So that's why I had the idea of doing these live streams. I could read them just like I did this scene. I could read for a little while. It wouldn't cost money. People could just listen to it if they want to, because all my videos that I have on here also get posted to my webpage, which is jennyallenbooks.com. It also gets posted to my YouTube channel, which is also jennyallenbooks.com. So YouTube has this great feature where you can just play all my videos. So you could, in theory, listen or watch and listen to all of Blood Lily on YouTube. So, oh, and thank you, Lisa. It was my pleasure to share. Like I said, it's kind of greedy of me, honestly, because I wanted to share this scene so bad with somebody because I love it so much. And it's going to be a while till anyone else gets to really read it on a page, unfortunately, because I have to finish these book 1 and book 2 edits. Then I can get back. Then I have to re-edit book 3 that I have so far and finish writing it, because right now I think it's maybe about halfway done. I have to really look at it after doing these edits and things. So it's probably going to be a while, but I loved the scene so much that I really wanted to share it. So congratulations. So make sure you check me out on YouTube. Like I said, you can just look up Jenny Allen Books. It's an entire channel. All my videos are posted there. You can also find all my videos on jennyallenbooks.com. my webpage. I have a new page that says videos. You click on there and it has embedded links where you can watch all the YouTube channel videos, which are the same ones that are on here. So I post them everywhere I can. All right, so next week I'm gonna do my character spotlight on Ashcroft. Might have some spoilers in there. Maybe. We'll see. And then if you guys have any questions that I didn't answer today, make sure you get them to me, and I will address them on my next live stream. So let me see here. I work Thursday, Friday, and I'm off the weekend. Saturday, I get to go to my possible wedding venue, which is exciting. Ask some questions. Then I work Monday, Tuesday. So my next live stream will probably be on Thursday. So a little over a week. I'm pretty much going to shoot for Tuesdays and Thursdays because those seem to work the best for me. And thank you, Joanne. Thank you for doing these videos, she said. I appreciate it a lot. I think it makes us like closer. We get to like discuss and talk about things. It's great. Keeps me connected to my fans while you guys are waiting for me to get stuff done. Oh, and thank you, Marianne. Yay! I'm glad you made it. I know you were like chomping at the bit for book 3, so it's a little taste. So Tuesdays and Thursdays seem to work best, so it'll be a little over a week till my next one, but on Thursday, I'll have that. So you guys have plenty of time to get in any questions that you have. And also check out the poll. Make sure you give me your answer because I want to see how many people are actually interested in the concept of me reading the entire book over a series of videos. And I will see you guys then. So thank you guys for joining me. We had like, at the high point, we had like 5 people watching, which was really cool because it's usually only been like 1, maybe 2, sometimes 3. So more people this time, so maybe I'll do the announcements ahead of time, kind of shout out, get people interested. So yeah, you guys take care. I will see you guys soon on Thursday next week, 1 o'clock. That's my time. I will put out an actual event, so as a reminder. And until then, I will see you guys later. Get me all your questions and answer the poll. Thank you guys for listening and following along. Love you guys.